for Emma Frost. Can she anchor? Can she hard carry the team almost at points? And for Magneto, can you hit those meteor M's? Can you collapse on the enemy team with those, right? We've seen Dogman. Weird casting, by the way, again, but yeah, it's odd for Dogman specifically because, they say Dogman. What were you saying? Sorry, Chip?
No, I was just going to go ahead and say the Emma lock here from Techie. Another Emma squeaking through. We didn't see that, I don't think, a single time in day one. So definitely happening a few times here. Teams not necessarily afraid to go into it. Obviously, matchups dependent. We haven't seen a lot of Groot, which I am surprised about. Groot obviously taking a little bit of a back seat since these recent changes, nerfing the HP of his shield, his E shield, by 100 HP. So we are seeing the impact and a little bit of a damage nerf on his left click. So Groot getting a little less play, but even on day one, like I said, we were seeing a lot more of him, because it does have good combinations with ultimates.
And on that Chip, sorry, I know you got to get some water in you, but in those top tier lobbies about Groot, as these bans kind of come through, because you've been playing a lot of Eternity lobbies since I've been gone. I was on a little bit of vacation this past week. I mean, are you seeing a ton of him in ranked? Is he kind of fading out of favor? Obviously, at the pro level, it seems to be that case. And is it the same thing in those Eternity and those high elo lobbies?
Yeah, I mean, we discussed it a little bit before, but Emma now, the change that Emma can gain charge off of Groot walls does actually help the matchup, where Groot was considered a little more of a counter for Emma on season 2.0. 2.5, it's been a little bit of a change, because getting that charge and having a position or time where you can buy time and hold laser charge longer just by turning over to a Groot wall that may have been left from a previous fight, stuff like that has helped push him down a little more. So definitely taking a bit of a backseat, but that being said, the ultimate, the ability to isolate is still very strong. So it's not necessarily the end all be all that we won't be seeing him, because we did see him on day one.
It's going to be Human Torch ban actually coming through on a Techie. They were looking at Invisible Woman, which maybe could have been interesting, but maybe you force towards a specific comp, like with that, looks like going towards that Ultron comp. And Hendrik Krakoa has like the best music by far, no? Like, this music is just such a vibe.
Oh yeah, I love Krakoa. I'm a big Domination fan. I also like Arakko a lot. I know that's a bit of, some people have different opinions on Arakko. I think it's a fun map to play. It does lend itself a little more into dive and a little more aggressive play style. It's also very lane heavy, as we see Waffles over here on the Hawkeye, at least showing that so far. We haven't seen that, I don't think, a single time today. So that is going to be a little exciting to watch, as I believe Luna got through as well. I'd have to check here as we push forward into Krakoa, a very liked map here in season 2.5, as it's been chosen nearly almost every other match, if not more than that.
Yeah, we saw Bird of the Chala first, and a little bit of B-roll for you guys of this beautiful map. At first I really didn't like this map, I'll be honest with you, just like gameplay wise, because it's so long. Kind of growing on me, especially since like I looked into the third person. We're not going to the dragon map, I believe, are we? The hanging?
No, not yet.
Okay, good. But on that one, I guess we talked about, the dragon actually flies up every now and again, right? Like every 30 seconds or something. And then he flies up over the map, and I went into the third person. He just like sits in the trees over the top of the map. Like he just like is frozen. And we are on that map. Oh, sick. Yeah, maybe we'll see the dragon kind of fly up later. It just kind of flies there, just sticks in the buildings, because I think they don't know where to put him. So he just kind of sits there and then comes back down every now and again.
Yeah, you know what, you're right. I think you mentioned this map being long, but the teleports do activate as you go through the map, and that does make things a little quicker. But we are going to see that Venom back in here right now, and Venom getting a lot more play today. You got to love to see it. Venom, a very difficult Vanguard to take out, as Blur from tekixd tries to find a high side angle. The tackle potentially coming in from Doom. Blur going to find impunity early, though, and that's huge for Techie off the rip. But there's that tackle trying to bait out that passive. Wolverine's passive does get popped, so we're going to play off it, though, and try to find more value. Fidel going to take out Blur. Back and forth we go, as the numbers are now even. Tap on the Psylocke. Woofle's going to take out Vision, though, and Techie again ahead of numbers as the teleport comes out early.
Yeah, early teleport, and rest of the team Tap trying to kind of find these eliminations, but unfortunately Cloak and Dagger, that little bubble's hard to kind of find eliminations. Doom trying to match that Psylocke on the backside, but she's been so evasive. Dash back to the team. Nobody yet in control of the point, by the way. And this Venom does get grabbed, but Venom has this sort of ability with that E to stay alive.
Yeah, and Doom playing hyper aggro. Wolverine very difficult to take out with the right pocket. A very terrifying duelist in the eyes of every tank, even Emma, if you just buy your time and wait out that Exhibit A. Good pull off there. Well done by the side of SHROUD-X, trying to keep them away. excuse me, sorry, by the side of Teki when it comes to Woofles with a good push off. But that is one of the few things that you can do to help your frontline vanguards into the Wolverine. Your Invis has got to be holding on to that cooldown. Good damage here by Vision, taking out Brood early. Down goes Emma. Numbers back in the favor of SHROUD-X, who are holding on to the point here. 26 on and still maintaining that pressure. Dongmin goes up in the sky with the dunk. Does not find value. Impunity going to take out Tap, though. And that is going to keep SHROUD-X in the numbers favor with 35 on the domination.
Yeah, tekixd and I remember Avery, definitely a good Bucky player, but right now, they're just seem a little bit desynced. It just feels like Tap's sort of alone on these dives. Blur's not there with that combination. Like we saw with Somble and X-Tech earlier. They just get those dives perfectly. And right now, I don't know what it is, but they're kind of struggling to find that duo. SHROUD-X doing a good job disrupting it maybe as an entire unit.
Yeah, ult advantage on the side of Teki right now. It's actually evened out as we push forward. SHROUD-X now slightly up, holding on to this point, 63 on. It's looking good for them. Impunity holding on to the Eye of Agamotto. We do also have that Eternal Bond ready for Fidel. But Avery, we know how strong Kraken Impact can be. It's all about, can they collapse? You will see potential damage boost here by, ooh, a fair amount of damage dealt, but no major pick yet. You see a cancellation here. SHROUD-X back to having 0 ultimates ready. Impunity did lose the Eye of Agamotto there, but still already back at 70. As Strange can get that ult back incredibly quick with the correct rotation of damage and melee. Good job. Oh, great positioning here of the Cosmic Yarn. Doom gonna take out Blur. Down goes Avery. Doom's on a Brood as well. That is 3 as they are gonna clean up here. SHROUD-X looking really good on map 1.
That's a great point, Shib, with that Cosmic Yarn. Got the damage through the Cloak and Dagger ultimate. Point is going to get touched overtime. Ticks down. Portal probably not even going to be here in time, though. And that cooldown now gets used. So that's tough for tekixd, who just got 100 owed on Krakoa.
Yeah, and you do lose that Strange teleport. Granted, it is a 3-minute cooldown. You just don't use it to engage in the next, on the next fight. It's not that you necessarily need it. Depends on if they're running Strange inherently. If they are, that is going to hurt them slightly, as you can definitely get 2 teleport rotations in if you use it to engage here. But not sure that that's going to be the case. Looks like they're back on that Emma Venom. Avery, Tap, and Woofles all holding on to ultimate. Impunity and Dom in both the Vanguard lines. Not taking too much damage. Both holding on as the strategist line hasn't fallen one time on either side. Really good positioning there, and Doomed on the Wolverine, not getting KO'd once either. Very scary to go into a Wolverine that is not falling.
Yeah, that is going to be terrifying to play against, and right now this team's going to have to kind of come back side of tekixd on this next round. And, okay, I did look it up. So Tap is a guy I played with for a little bit, so it's cool to see him play in this game. And now, his team's down, right? That first map did not go their way whatsoever, and switching Blur over to the Captain America, maybe that's the change-up they need for SHROUD-X's side. Doesn't seem like they have to mix up much. They're doing really good playing around this Rocket Raccoon. We're going to see some incoming portal cheese. We see this a lot of the times.
Yeah, potentially trying to get a kidnap there with the portal. If you place it properly and fast enough, you can actually get something like a strategist to walk through. Dongmin trying to find value there, not able to do so. Tap on a good off angle with the Psylocke, holding on to the point, playing off this point. You can retake, jump back into the portal, get full HP off the spawn. Oh, and a great Eye of Agamotto as they get 4 there. Incredibly well done by Impunity, who sweeps the entirety. Oh my goodness, down goes tekixd fully, as that is just, or AAD is going to have to reset. Really well done there by Impunity, who now is 10-1. Dongman still holding on without losing a single life here, and the rest of their backline still not falling either. A ton of value there.
Yeah, they kind of baited, I feel like. They were like winning the team fight, but still fought around that portal. And oh no, Tap gets kidnapped, brought up by the rocket pack into the ceiling, able to dash back away. But unfortunately, they just thought they were winning team fights, so they stuck near that portal. And like you mentioned, Shib, Impunity, perfect timing. Just kind of dodging back and forth. 30% now on the board built for SHROUD-X, who don't have many ultimates. So right now, this is Techi's chance with that invisible boundary. Maybe they could meet SHROUD-X early.
It's one of those experience dances that when you are around a portal, especially if it's near spawn, your team is smart enough to look through portals, still find value of touching spawn while still looking through the portal. If you're able to do that whenever you're low on HP, it's essentially like getting ulted, right? Because you are fully back on HP, and you can just retake the fight like they did. And they immediately won that thing. So we see Doomed here, just keeping the pressure on, still holding on to that passive. Still going to have that extra HP. We see Blur popping Cap just to try to keep the team in the fight. We do see the Cosmic Yarn get popped as well. They're not going to be able to deal enough damage to it, or at least they're focusing in now. Now now it goes down, and that is a problem. Blur trying to find some more value as Tap makes the pressure too. Avery and Tap using all their cues, but that is going to be a four-piece together, and they are going to take priority on a point. Well done by the duelist line, and yeah, it looked really good as they do hold on tekixd. That is what we want to see as we push into the second map.
Yeah, that was a good fight, like you mentioned, but that's every ultimate used, right? They overlaid Blur and Ad's ultimates. Now coming to this next one, they have nothing against the Punisher. Visions, Dongmin, 3 ultimates. They've also built up to 65% of the board, so I mean, it's kind of a death sentence if they lose this next fight quickly.
Yeah, this is in ranked. We would consider that a win, right? They overcommitted potentially, right? That we did see a ton of value. They were able to make it happen, but they burned all the cues. Like you said, Vision gonna pop right now. Final Judgment goes out. Will they collapse off it? Emma in a weird position. Great dash out, using that cooldown, using that diamond form to escape. Dropping the Strat line away. Not able to get a lot of value there, but they are retaking this position. Roughly even now, 45 to 65. A lot of damage. Up we go with Dom, looking for somebody. Dongmin trying to dunk on. Nice jump up there by Bucky to avoid it. Dongmin trying to find value, and unfortunately not able to do so, but still buying time as SHROUD-X does retake the point. Vision dropping Avery and just spinning with this turret. Just a threat and also a great way to build that ult charge, dealing a ton of damage, almost getting 20% in a few seconds. There's the tackle on a Vision. Does not able to get the kick into the side. It wasn't going to be enough, as we do see Brute here use the psionic.
Yeah, just lost team fight. I mean, they just unfortunately committed too much, down too many people, and I don't know, that just was a lost team fight off the rip. And now coming into this one, they have some stuff coming back. They have Woofles. Maybe he can come back and pity they'll connect with Yamamoto surely. Or got stunned.
Yeah, Dongmin is going to find Avery out there, pushed out. Brute's going to hold on, and you would want that ultimate at this point, but it is difficult conversation. The comms obviously going to be a little more scattered right here. Tap trying to find some value off the back angle. Dongmin drops Woofles. Impunity onto Brute. Impunity again onto AAD into the backside as Cloak falls as well. Really well played. It looks like SHROUD-X is back on their game here. Doom dropping Blur. Vision on a Tap, and that should be enough to win them map 1.
A great map number 1 from the side of SHROUD-X. That's a way to do it. And it was tough because there was some bright spots, right? We saw on the side of tekixd, they actually played very well around ultimates. You saw how they didn't die versus that Punisher ultimate. They didn't die versus Strategist ultimates as well early versus the Sonic Seduction and stuff. Like, they did a good job avoiding ultimates and all that damage. You saw the Meteor M get dodged by Avery. So you can see the micros there, but at a macro level, committing ultimates when you're down 2 players is definitely tough, considering, like you said, you know, win the war, not the battle necessarily. So, you know, for the side of tekixd, maybe they have some stuff to work on. And you know, game number 1, honestly, they didn't play that bad. I thought they had a good start to this series in map number 1, but right now SHROUD-X already putting themselves on that point by winning it in this first of 2.
Yeah, I liked what you said there. It's a macro, not a micro issue. Just a little bit of overcommitment on ults, not finding too much value until things were already cycling again for SHROUD-X, able to get those ults back and finding value off their ultimates. Some strong play on both sides. It just didn't go in their favor. Techie made some small mistakes. Impunity did really well on the Strange. There are some really strong ultimates. Vision and Doom, both with 7 final hits, looking very strong. I mean, we did see a little bit of back and forth, but I have to say, SHROUD-X looks like they had that from the very beginning and never took their foot off the gas. So well done there by SHROUD-X on map 1.
Yeah, I mean, maybe for the side of tekixd, now that we move off of domination, well, I don't know, that's tough because usually, I mean, domination maps, I would say, are even less macro focused, right? So now that we enter domination, I'm a little worried for their synergy between both Tap and Blur. I think they're great players individually, just haven't been able to get on the same page, I think. And right now for the side of tekixd, maybe we got to look at that band. They played the bands fine too, I guess. Like, it didn't really matter too much. I think it's just SHROUD-X. I think right now a more veteran team. I liked how they played the Rocket Raccoon. I think that's a very unique idea, right? To play that Cosmic Giant Amplifier, to play around Rocket Raccoon and the neutrals, just look at each other, the supports, the Punisher, that trio between them. I mean, that was perfect. So right now, a lot of positive things to say about SHROUD-X and tekixd. Hopefully for them, they can maybe look back at the drawing board after that map.
Yeah, you mentioned the Rocket. Nuck has never been afraid to play Rocket, even in the last few seasons. Been pretty much a strategist that can play virtually everyone. Nuck does a great job of that, but great placements of those Cosmic Yarns. We mentioned that playing around the shields of things like Strange and Mag, if you are going to use double shield, you actually have more value out of that Rocket ult because you can maintain it longer and allows your team to play aggressively with more aggressive ults like things like Vision on Punisher. So if you do play around that with Cosmic Yarn, it's an unstoppable force of damage. It's a little more threatening, the double shield to keep it up. I liked what they were doing, definitely a little more unique. And like we said, I just feel like they were on their game. It felt normal to them and it didn't look like they hesitated once.
No, it didn't look like they hesitated at all. And speaking about hesitation, we're going to hesitate for a little bit to get ready for this map number 2. So we're going to go to a short break. We'll see you guys after this.
Go, my children. Make yourself useful.
By the eye of Agamotto! Tremble before us! Maximum pulse!
가깝던 높이 날아올라 내 누워진 밤하늘을 가로질러 Oh yeah, oh yeah 필요할 때 내가 널 지켜줄게 간절히 바라면 이루어지는 마법인 거야 분명한 소리 들려 여기서 저기서 날 찾으며 달빛이 날 비춰와 시작해야 let's go 어둡고 흘러는 우주 따뜻한 눈으로 감싸나 순간 신비롭게 녹아내릴 거야 좀 더 기다려 I'll be there 쓰러지지 마 끝까지 일어나야 해 어딜 가든지 극복해 힘은 너에게 있는 걸 소리 높여 노래를 불러 작은 걱정 따윈 던지고 최선을 다해 작품을 쳐봐 어둠이 떠날 때까지 아름다운 꿈을 밝혀봐 우리에게 달려서 그 세계우며
was just a heavy alt fight where they were down 4 ultimates in one fight. So looked really good.
Yeah, they look really good indeed, and that's what you need as SHROUD-X, right? If you're, I imagine Shroud potentially watching this tournament, this is the biggest tournament Shroud's team has played in. So, you know, for the Rivals Ignite series to just get that first win would be huge, right? Considering how earlier, I think, you know, Ricky mentioned how it'd be funny to see them lose. Right now, Shroud, they took that personally, right? SHROUD-X took that personally into this one. Now we're entering the ban phase to a Rocco. First time we're getting to cast it, Shib. This is our first time on a Rocco together as a duo here, man.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go. Arako, a fun map. We mentioned the dive being strong at Arako, and I mentioned this team likes dive, so it does seem to work out. It's like I can predict the future or something. The bans off the rip. Down goes Magneto on both sides, and Emma lock. So we are going to see Emma potentially here on... actually, you know, the ban's coming out. They're not going to be able to stop that Emma, but they have a chance to lock Emma themselves, so we will see.
Probably, yeah. It'd be a shame if you didn't. For SHROUD-X side, people realizing how strong that character is. It's sort of interesting how we've entered this Vanguard, you know, protect meta and ban meta, like with Magneto, Emma. People realizing the strength of these Vanguards. North America, I think we have a lot of very good Vanguard players, a lot of really good Magneto players. So getting rid of that character is huge, considering, you know, the strength of that hero. It's always that second hero that we're sort of that's not debated necessarily, but it does seem like it's Doctor Strange kind of followed up. Luna Snow bans for both teams though, and Loki as well. So mirroring it, Shib. I mean, anything unique about that, or is
I mean, I'm surprised. Yeah, the Loki double ban makes sense to me. I mean, they both have strong Loki players. I'm surprised we don't see the ban at some of the dive, right? Just to try to see if you can shake up their mental a little bit, right? You know, they're picking a dive heavy map. The thought might be, you know, let's get rid of some of that from them. You saw Cap, we saw Psylocke, so maybe seeing those get eliminated. I understand that, you know, they may not be in the most meta of positions right now, but there's got to be a strategy or a thought of at least trying to mess with the mental of the enemy team in these ban phases, as we see a lot of strategists getting taken off the field.
Yeah, a lot of strategists getting taken off the field. Invisible Woman Protect, meaning Human Torch, probably going to be that duo of Human Torch and Invisible Woman. Meanwhile, Cloak and Dagger got banned and protected, so...
Yeah, we could see Thing too to shut some of that movement down, right? Yancey does eliminate that movement. We are going to see the ban swap over here and the lock stay in. So Emma on both sides should be selected. Ooh, Blur, there is our first Groot of the days. Surprising to see that, at least so far. We are going to see Dongmin on the Penny, likely just to get those packs out for the team, but it is, you know, there is a chance that we see Penny on some of these maps because it is a difficult one-lane map. So if you can find a way to shut down off angles, play a health pack, you can almost play Penny like an additional DPS and run triple if you want to, but it is a little more niche. So we'll see what these teams are thinking.
Yeah, definitely a very strategist-focused ban phase for both teams, both getting rid of 3 strategists and 1 Vanguard. So both of these teams will play every single duelist. They will be available. And that is the interesting thing about this patch, because like Punisher is so strong, and a lot of people I think believe that Punisher maybe, I'm not gonna say it's like the highest skill cap hero. I just think it's very easy for these pros to play, right? Have good aim, pop ultimate, right? A lot of these things are relatively easy to sort of figure out on Punisher compared to, you know, with Human Torch being as strong as he was. It did feel like if you just got Human Torch cap, there was sort of no way to come back. Maybe is it like that now, Shib? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Like Emma Frost cap is too strong?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that, but I will say Punisher is way more unleashed when you remove Magneto, which they all have been doing. It's now no longer a game of can I have the bubble ready and will you stay up with this ult? It's more so who has the best ultimate in the time and who can land their shots at a hit scan level, because you're really not afraid to pop that Q whenever you have to. You're going to see a lot more aggressive play with the shoddy up front, as you know you're not going to get dunked on when they press. So we will see a Punisher battle. Actually, I lied. tekixd elected to not run it, as Psylocke does a pretty good job in a Punisher, a little more of a wide body, allowing Psylocke to do more damage. We do see Avery, like you mentioned, the Human Torch battle from Doom and Avery. Well guessed there, my friend. And we, you know, SHROUD-X looking like a comp they would not be afraid to run as Impunity. Does a great job here on Groot.
Yeah, it does. And am I only, by the way, weirded out by the fact, but we're getting rid of Visions. Nice job with the dive, Groot there with the follow-up. Shib, am I also the only one weirded out the fact that you're pushing like a Groot-like character on this map? Like you're using it on a Rocco?
Yeah,
Isn't
I mean,
that weird to me? Anybody else?
Yeah, it can be a little strange. There is some off map here, so you're definitely going to see the invis, especially in the beginning on defense. SHROUD-X looking to try to teleport back here. This is a power position, but they're already pushing past it. If you have to force fight down that hallway all the time, you either have a tough choke up top, or you have the risk of getting pushed off map. We are going to see a rotation. Great placement there behind. That's actually Krakoa, if you can believe that, in a form, walking towards Arako. Kind of a crazy lore situation there. But placing it behind there. Great positioning. Doomed up on Wolf. Nice KO early on there as Avery now repositions back to the team. And that's a great retake here by SHROUD-X.
A lot of flyers coming through and a lot of sustain for SHROUD-X, right? With this tandem, with this 3-stack, with the Ultron, Invisible Woman, and the Rocket Raccoon, right? You have Rez in case somebody goes down. You have so much sustain with the firewalls. The ultimate as well, probably going to play aggressive with it, try to force SHROUD-X ultimates. tekixd, meanwhile, on their side, running that Mantis for that damage boost on their side, and every ultimate available except Avery's. See what they do on their attack. Maybe force out some SHROUD-X ults. That's a
ton of Qs ready for Techie on this next push. They either heavily commit or they hold on and just kind of kite this out as Doom pops that early. Tries to find somebody with a supernova. Tap gonna collapse, take out Vision and Nuck early, and that's huge as the res will no longer be available. Great set of plays there. Doom gonna find Wolf, and it goes back and forth here a little bit. SHROUD-X trying to hold on. Tap again. Dongmin gonna turn that around. Doomed onto Avery. Blur onto Dongmin. The res does come up for Nuck on Impunity, and they're still continuing this fight, but it looks like it's in Shroud's favor, and they do retake. They're forced to have to retreat here, excuse me, as they will have to fight again. Well done by SHROUD-X.
Yeah, they had the res beacon to bring back a member that got lost, and then Nuck also walked all the way back from his side of the map and just hard-pocketed the Human Torch who was targeted. So Tap tried his best, but right now, tekixd have been stopped for a while. Meanwhile, Dongmin, very aggressive ultimate on the portal, catches 2 members out with a Sonic Seduction, and Vision's there with the follow-up on Avery.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, isn't lesser well known, but it is very strong. Emma using that ultimate into Flyers. That Psionic Seduction is super strong in Flyers, forcing them to take a slow path in a straight direction, where as a Flyer, your main value is your vertical juking and horizontal juking at the same time. It's very difficult to land shots, but if they're walking at you at a very slow pace, your team better focus. So it's all about that calm there, forcing everyone to look up, and they do follow up and get those picks. Brute trying to do the same thing up in the sky. Great positioning there on the drop back as we see Vision playing around that pillar. So well done there to counter that. Avery going to find Impunity though, and that's still towards Techie as they are up in numbers. Doomed going to come in here and try to take the 1v1 torch battle, and we see Vision up in the sky raining down with Ultron, keeping everyone up, playing it a little more defensively instead of offensively, and finding a ton of value as Woofles takes out Nuck though. It's very much a traded fight. Doomed popping Q as well for SHROUD-X, trying to turn this back in their favor. Brute going to drop Impunity. Avery onto Doomed, and that's enough for Techie to take point 1.
And the map shifts from Ultron's disgusting industrialization into Krakoa's beautiful grass. I love that, by the way, that map. But you're right, Shiv, that was beautiful from the side of tekixd. 2 minutes down to the second phase of the map. And they did it pretty clinically. I think SHROUD-X, you know, they did a good job sort of just avoiding all of that damage. Now they're going to swap over to that Mantis on their side, opting for a little bit more damage on their team. Maybe setting up Doom to get a little bit more fire damage, I guess, downrange.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things, just for the audience, for those who may not know the term kiting, we saw a really good job there, like tekixd kiting away from some of these ultimates, which is essentially just dealing damage while you're floating away, keeping the space while still turning around and dealing damage, much like a kite is pushed away from you and then being caught by the strings. You're constantly trying to stay at range away from those ultimates while still dealing damage as Doom takes Avery. Tap onto Fidel. Tap getting 2 there, down to Nuck, and using both dashes to clean up those KOs. Really well done, but Vision turns that back, and the numbers almost even. SHROUD-X is up on ultimates. AAD gonna pop Mantis, keeping the team pressing forward with some speed. Blur down on Doomed, and Techie doing a great job keeping the pressure forward, trying to push this into point 2.
Yeah, Vision's, some say the ultimate just feels like Loki clones in the sky, and I would say that's pretty accurate, as Vision just forces off the side of tekixd for now, but it doesn't really matter. He's just trying to sustain versus the side hunt with the sonic seduction over the top from Dongman.
Ooh, great play there. Good angle. Finds a few walking. Not able to get anything there. Unfortunately, the team just wasn't quite ready for that. Eye of Agamotto gets popped. Brood using that psionic seduction as well. Unfortunately, Strange Shield, one of the major counters to that ultimate, although he does struggle into M outside of that. Really well played as the teams are popping Qs all over the place. Up in the sky, Avery raining down. Doom's going to find Doom to get onto Brood. Doom popping off here for SHROUD-X on the defensive side, just cleaning up the rest of them with that supernova. Well done by Doom, getting a two-piece and putting the team back up with 20 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, Doom's been a little bit more free having that Invisible Woman support, right, with the shield in the sky, also with the team up to get a little bit more overhealth. So those things are enabling Doom to play as aggressive as he wants, and it's been tough for Avery to get much done. SHROUD-X sitting with some ultimates. They're going to have to deal with tap again. Can they zone out that Dance of the Butterflies?
Yeah, I'd have to go glance back at the ban situation to see if Invis was banned on the opposition, because that is going to make the battle very difficult. Tapped onto Doom, though. Great ult there just to get the early pick. Numbers back in Techie's favor. No ults here for SHROUD-X. It's going to be just a battle of the neutral. Who can get the job done? Well, Strange is low. Tap trying to clean that up. Brute going to take out Impunity. Blur going to find one as well. And Techie now up by 4. Make that 5 as they push this thing. 2.2. Techie getting the job done on attack here. Oh, wow. Really well played, and now we go towards point 3.
Heading to point 3 of the map. I think tekixd setting up tap with the Dance of the Butterflies. You saw SHROUD-X try to play around, you know, that like they had a cloak and dagger almost, right? They just try to kind of sit together, try to heal up with the heals from the drone, from the Ultron. Unfortunately, they just could not live. Vision's cooldowns not there in time to save everybody. Tap was able to find elimination, and off that, with the main advantage, they just ran towards SHROUD-X, got the fight win. Now we're entering third phase of the map, the last phase. With this high ground, it makes it very unique. You have to control this sort of to make sure SHROUD-X are staved off. Give your Human Torch a little more space.
We're gonna have roughly even ult on this next fight. 45 on the clock. Expect a lot of Qs to be clicked here as we push this forward. This is a very difficult choke, as you do have 2 angles, up or down. There's some teleporters on the left to get out if you need to on actually both sides. The right side leads you to a loop around should you want to flank on something like more of a melee focused hero. But we do see up in the sky right now a ton of supernovas being popped. Great strangling prison, and after you want to try to counteract, Vision gonna find AAD. Down goes 1. We do have Brute popping that Q now to force some people in their direction, and here goes the fest of Qs. Like I mentioned, we do see that Eternal Bond out. Very difficult to find a ton of value through that. Vision is still able to find 1, make that 2 as Dongman takes out Brute. Blur onto Fidel, doomed onto AAD, and that's enough to hold on point 3.
Yeah, not touching the card as well, and very good push there regardless from tekixd, considering how the second phase went, first phase went. You know, it was back against the wall in overtime. They got past, you know, those checkpoints and getting stopped at the very end. You can't feel too bad considering how we, you know, talk about on Convergence and on Convoy, how hard it is to just cap out the maps in general. SHROUD-X, though, this team seems to be pretty good at this Ultron composition, don't they, Shib? They seem to play very well around this, like, duo of the Flyers in the sky.
Yeah, I mean, Ultron does a good job in enabling Flyers in and of itself with that drone, but then you add the Invisible Woman shield, and it gets impossible to try to duel that back. The Invisible Woman shield and yeah, there actually was a ban on their side, so they could not match that. Really smart play to force the Flyer battle and finding more value. I think that's a win almost in ban phase, right? If you get rid of Invis in a Flyer battle, the odds are stacked in your favor significantly more, and you can see that being worked out here as you see Doomed 15-4. Avery actually 16-3. Excuse me, Avery doing a great job doing whatever he can. Does have that Ultron drone as well, but the invisible shield not enough. So yeah. Avery really popping off, honestly.
Yeah, Avery's been doing very well. I think it's the trade-off, right? You're trading off, you know, the sustain, the damage amplification on Cloak and Dagger for the Invisible Woman shield, and then the thing that sort of makes Invisible Woman slightly maybe better in this specific matchup is, like you said, when you give that shield to Doomed, right? You have that overhealth from the team up. That might be the difference maker and could very well enable SHROUD-X to kind of close out in this series. Like you said, Avery played very well, but right now SHROUD-X, we'll see what they do on their attack.
Yeah, you also have the slight advantage of the team up, right? I mean, you do, it's a small amount of overshield, but it is enough, and it can help you win a fight. You know how it is, where fights can get down to the slightest bit of health. Good teleport here. It actually puts you right in the center, over the off map below you, trying to find an angle here onto the Flyers. It is a Flyer v Flyer battle, back and forth, trying to find Tap. Tap juking like crazy, so back and forth. The movement here is insane to witness. Nice. Oh my goodness, what a dive there by Doom to take out Blur, put the numbers in their favor now. Don't think there's a res. There is not a res. Teki does not have that rocket, keeping the pressure forward. Dongmin gonna find Tap and keep once again numbers in their favor. 4-6. Doomed trying to find Avery in a low. Yep, and that is the pick. That should be enough to drive them through point 1, unless we see a big touch here with the teleport.
It's coming in. They don't touch. This feels like a comp dip to me right now, Shiv. I just feel like that Invisible Woman sort of makes it so they just win in these neutral fights. And right now, that duo between Vision and Doom just controlling that off angle. What do? tekixd now giving up on that Flyer trade because they know they're not going to win any fights in the sky. I mean, Avery has pretty much an extra like 50, 100 HP whenever he wants with his slam and then with the team up. And then also, you know, anytime he's just in trouble, he asks for Invisible Woman to shield, and then he also has the drone. So there's just so much commitment towards these Flyers, and SHROUD-X, tekixd just don't have that same composition. They don't have the support for both of their Flyers in the sky.
For sure. I actually like a lot the composition here by SHROUD-X, running 2 off healers and a main with Invis. So you do have that Mantis and Ultron, who actually are able to deal, you know, considerable damage, but also the damage boost, the drone, a little more off heal, off strategist role type abilities. And then you have Invis doing what she does with the shield and ultimate. So well played. I like that comp a lot. I think you're right. A lot of this has to do with that pick ban phase, and I think it really is allowing them to kind of just walk this as they have 4 minutes and 27 seconds on the clock for point 2 with every single ult up for this ult advantage fight. Tap gonna get in there and try to force a few out with the Q. Does get pushed away a little bit, but not enough. Doesn't force out much. It is gonna make them use Nux ultimate there with Mantis, so we do see that Soul Resurgence out, but still no major trade here. Impunity gonna pop that. Ooh, wow. Doom gonna find Tap like that. The Strangling Prison goes out. Make that 2 as Avery goes down. Strangling Prison forcing their whole team together, and that is tough to go through a Human Torch ultimate like that. You cannot heal through it. His Vision is going to take AAD, and that could be enough to force them through point 2.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate. tekixd, I think we talked about this on Domination. That was sort of their map to win. I think the micro gameplay was perfect, but right now, I mean, you just saw with that Soul Resurgence, with that Mantis committing the ultimate towards the end of a lost team fight. It just feels like tekixd, their macro play is just kind of bad compared to SHROUD-X, at least right now, and that's really the moral of the story right now. 5 minutes in third phase. That's a daunting time bank to go against.
It is, yeah, it's just a ton of time, man. It's a multitude of fights, a multitude of rotation of ultimates. It's really just going to be about, can they shift the momentum, because the momentum is so heavily on the side of SHROUD-X right now. Vision holding on to that ultimate, the only one in the team, both teams right now. So there is ult advantage. Vision can find some value onto the back line with that if he gets a good angle. So Tap trying to find these Flyers, and Tap doing a good job of getting final hits here, as Psylocke does. Really good patience, good focus, good aim, but it's may not be enough here. Okay, they are going to throw out the Supernova. There is a little bit of Avery trying to find some, just buying space, but no major pick yet. Trying to get back onto Doomed, is going to escape. That movement is so clean. Good utilization there of the dive, but it is so close to the round being over, as the point is right there, and Vision finds Wolf. Down goes Dongmin, going to find Brood, Fidel onto Avery, and that should be enough here to end this, as they are getting cleaned up, and that means SHROUD-X takes home the W.
3, 2.
Yeah, big win for SHROUD-X, and it just was clinical. I mean, in that last fight, you even saw Teki just didn't have the space warranted for that dive, right? It was just constant passive plays throughout the map. We saw it. It was just map on defense. They just gave up that off angle towards the portal. Then on that third phase, you saw Tap having to back away, and then Blur wants to go for that dive, but he has to use all of his cooldowns to go for that dive with that Human Torch ultimate, but they just don't have the space. They don't have the positioning to really give them merit to control those angles. And maybe with time, with a lot of work together as a unit, they could get better. But right now, I mean, they're just playing a little bit too passive. I would like to see them maybe build that cohesion going into the lower bracket round, where it's going to be win or go home for them.
Yeah, I mean, you got to show some love to the Vanguard line. Avery and Tap both did really well. Not able to get the final hits I'm sure they were looking for, but you got to give some love to Doom. 15 final hits there, allowing them to shove right through the team, really building around Doom there. Nuck, Vision, and Fidel all kind of committing to it, as Vision doing a good job there on Ultron. So just a really strong comp, running that group there, Impunity, with some nice strangling prisons. Dongmin playing a great Emma, just focusing on those flyers, getting them out of the sky. It just seemed like a, just something they've been cycling for a while. This team comp they're comfortable with, and it really worked out for them.
Yeah, it really did. Saw the highlights here. Techie were playing well. I mean, shout out to every single one of their players for showing up today and giving it their all through the open qualifiers, now coming into the official matches. They had their moments, right? Tap looked good on the Psylocke. There was some things to build off of, and for SHROUD-X, I mean, we already know how good they are, but now they're kind of proving it. We'll see if they can do it versus a top team in the next round. And there's a lot of things to maybe talk about this patch ship. It just feels like there's so much creativity, like there's so many different things you can sort of do in terms of hero pool and in terms of what characters you play.
Yeah, I mean, you got to almost show some love. Nuck on the Mantis, right? You don't see the Warlock there. They're not running, the res, not running Guardians comp. Instead, just playing the Mantis to damage boost the Flyers, allow them to win those trades into the Flyer battle. You've got Invis Shield up there, just putting all your eggs in one basket with a single duelist and allowing him to absolutely pop off. And it really showcased. So, yeah, you're right. The ingenuity, the creativity of these comps are allowing them to take some more unique Ws, maybe into, compositions these teams don't really practice into.
You should bring that up maybe in the interview ship, because I think that I've been sort of lower on this like triple strategist with the Adam Warlock compositions. I feel like they're sort of falling out of favor just because of the fact that like what they're gonna do, right? They're gonna try to go for the res. Adam Warlock's gonna go hide. That's one of your big duelists. That's one of your big damaging players. And the fact that you have to maybe go hide for a second and go find a res, it's tough on a lot of maps. There's not a lot of maps where Adam Warlock can really succeed. And I think I would not be surprised if we see that comp fall out of favor. It's still super early days, but I don't know. Everything I've seen in EMEA, I'm not a big proponent of this triple res composition. I think it's just too easy to counter. It's too straightforward, right? You just go in, Soul Bond, go in, Loki Crystal, go in, use the Strategist Ultimate, die, Adam Warlock res, right? If you don't get eliminations in any of that time, the composition just sort of falls off a cliff, I feel like.
Yeah, I'll definitely bring it up because, there was no ban to Warlock, right? There was no ban to Star-Lord, I don't believe. So it really was just the idea around pocketing the Flyers with damage boost, allow them to do their thing. Let's put all of our eggs into that and run it through them. And it really worked. Them banning out Invis on the opposition, just some smart and some well-tested strategy. Like, they clearly know what they're doing. We talk about the new pick ban phase being super impactful, and these guys really utilized that to their advantage here on this match and just walked right through them.
Yeah, there's a lot that kind of went on there. We have an interview, I believe, in just a moment with one of the players from SHROUD-X. We could talk to them about everything that you just mentioned today. We bring to you guys Dongmin. Hey, Dongmin, how you doing? Congratulations on your win, man. Good game, obviously. You played well. First question for you, obviously, on that last map. I think you guys kind of outplayed them from a macro level. Do you feel like also in the ban phase, everything sort of went your way? What was the sort of idea on that second map with the Invisible Woman protected, sort of playing around Doomed?
Well, we just thought that if we ban Invis as well, then it'll help out our Wolf if we play Wolf, and it'll like kind of disable the torch since he won't have a Luna pocket or a Invis pocket.
Yeah, that's smart play. I mean, that makes sense to me. The question I'm curious about, because we've been seeing Emma banned a lot today, was that more of a, you knew it was going to get through, let's just ego challenge it, Emma v Emma, and see what kind of happens? Or is that more so when you know you're running a certain comp, you're not so worried about Emma as much?
I mean, our team does play better off the mag than the Emma, but we have been practicing Emma a lot more recently, so I think we've been more comfortable recently trying to play the Emma comps. So I think we can mirror a lot of teams on it.
It looks like it. I mean, is that a matter of like you on that character in terms of how you sort of how you play it versus the other team's Emma, right? Is there a lot of sort of Emma diff, would you say, Dongmin, on your side? I don't want to obviously force trash talk out of you today, but I mean, do you feel like you are sort of better, obviously?
I think I'm like okay, Emma, let me be humble here. I'm not like the greatest, but
who would you say?
I think I can do my job on the character.
Who would you say are other good Emma players? Maybe not better than you, but just who would you shout out as some of the top tier Emma players?
Probably Kalush, TTK, Veswa from FlyQuest is a pretty good enema too.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny how you mentioned you're not, you maybe not the best, Em, as we're just watching these highlights of you decimating the enemy team with some really strong plays there. I got to ask quickly, just because I've always been curious about it. I like the idea of this comp. This comp was really unique to me. I haven't really seen a Mantis Ultron. In ladder, people would smack me in the face for suggesting that comp, but it seemed like you guys were not afraid to run it. Was the Mantis boosting you and focusing on torture? What was that looking like?
I think the Mantis was